Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I wanted to talk to you guys about what Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 17 had set the stage for a pretty interesting development when it comes to Boruto's future moves in the current arc itself. The battle lines there seemingly set in Boruto has been given an ominous warning that there might be a chance that those who we care for, they might not make it out of the battles that are coming, given that Ryu has been openly dealing with bloodlust that he has, and we have Sarada and Mitsuki getting ready to fight Ryu alone with only the help of Araya and Yodo, and then you have Konohamaru who has to strike down Matsuri, with there being a potential that Konohamaru's heart may not allow him to go through with the mission that was given to him. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video, where we're going to take a look at why there's an increasingly large chance that Boruto's attempts to head to the battlefield, and if he does so, there might be a major decision he has to make when it comes to what's happening moving forward, which is who does he save. So as we all know, Kashin Koji made it clear in Boruto chapter 16 that beings who are singularities of fate, himself, Ada, and Boruto, they must stay objective and detached from emotion and make calculated decisions that are required to point the world in the right direction, down a path where they will be able to save the future and avoid the worst possible outcome, where Boruto saves Sasuke, but he ends up getting the entire world destroyed because Jiraiya kills Boruto. In chapter 17, Boruto was shown getting annoyed with Kashin Koji's decision to keep him at arm's length in terms of not giving a defined percentage of the chances that his friends will live or die, instead telling him again that he must stay put. However, with all that conflict being sold into the story, just where does it go from here? Well, it's going to put Boruto onto a hot seat for several reasons. Boruto's potential decision to help Mitsuki and Sarada against Ryu, or Konohamaru against Matsuri, even in defiance of Kashin Koji's warnings, it reflects a deeply layered conflict between personal bonds, the weight of destiny, and the cost of heroicism. Boruto's desperation to save his friends being at war with Kashin Koji's warnings and belief about fate. Kashin Koji's warning, it highlights the immense stakes. If Boruto confronts Jiraiya, he risks certain death and annihilation. As the only individual with a realistic chance of defeating Jiraiya under controlled circumstances, Boruto's life, it holds the key to humanity's survival. Koji's perspective, it aligns with his interpretation of a singularity of fate, that Boruto as a singularity must follow a precise path for the future to be secured. For Koji, preserving Boruto's life, it is paramount, even if it means sacrificing those who Boruto loves in the short term. However, Boruto's decision to intervene, it underscores his refusal to prioritize destiny over personal bonds. His desperation to save Sarada and Mitsuki, it reflects the core of his character. His belief that relationships and protecting others, it defines what it means to be a hero, to be a shadow Hokage. This willingness to risk his life, even at the cost of potentially dooming the world, it demonstrates Boruto's struggle to reconcile with the demands of a prophesized future with an immediate visceral reality of the love and well-being for his friends. Boruto wants to be a Shadow Hokage, but he wants to be a Shadow Hokage on his terms. Kashin Koji's use of 10 directions versus Momoshiki's prophecy for Boruto to lose everything, and saying that Boruto will suffer as a result of omnipotence being casted, that also has to be highlighted here. Kashin Koji's use of 10 directions, it contrasts sharply with Momoshiki's prophecy. Momoshiki foretells Boruto that he will ultimately lose everything. He offers a grim and detrimentalist view of the fate that is awaiting Boruto. This prophecy looms over Boruto like a curse even after it's happened, because it views his future as being inevitable and suffering and loss being a known commodity for Boruto. In contrast, Kashin Koji is seeking to alter the future by using his foresight, emphasizing action, patience, and agency over passive acceptance. They are trying to alter fate in a strategic way. Whereas Momoshiki's prophecy emphasizes despair, Kashin Koji's approach, while very stoic and emotionless, it is an effort to empower Boruto, albeit it's with cold logic and calculated decisions. He has good intentions for it. This also creates underlying philosophical tension. Koji's belief in altering the future through strategic sacrifices, it clashes with Boruto's refusal to let go of his humanity and his bonds. Boruto is not going to accept a future where any of his friends die. This brings us to Boruto's belief in bonds versus Kashin Koji's belief in a singularity of fate. Boruto's reliance on his bonds is going to drive a wedge between himself and Kashin Koji in terms of the interpretation of what it means to be a singularity of fate. For Koji, the singularity, it reflects a fixed point. Boruto must fulfill his destiny without deviation, as any misstep could doom the world. He tells Boruto, if we let too many people know the future, it makes my power useless. Boruto, however, believes his bonds are the very reason he can succeed. He's going to have a determination to save Sarada and Mitsuki and Konohamaru, and that represents his conviction that persevering and preserving those connections is what gives his life and his mission meaning. So what if the futures change? Boruto is a shinobi. Boruto will endure because shinobi endure. The difference in perspective, it underscores the broader philosophical question of what it means to be a hero, something Boruto's learning. If part 1 was about Boruto learning what it means to be a shinobi, part 2 is Boruto also learning what it means to be a hero. Koji views Boruto as being a tool of fate. If we just really strip away everything Koji's saying, that's how he views him. While Boruto himself views himself as being a protector of those who he loves, including his village, even if it means risking his life and the greater mission itself. You also have to look at Boruto's decision versus Sasuke's will. Boruto's decision to go to the battlefield, likely to save Sarada, it ties back to Sasuke's last words to Boruto: protect Sarada at all costs. Those words, they carry a deep sense of honor and responsibility. It's very reflective of samurai culture. Boruto wields Sasuke's sword, and he embodies Sasuke's will of fire, protecting the village from the shadows just as Sasuke once did. I know that pisses off Sasuke fans, but you can suck one because it is what it is. Samurai culture often emphasizes the importance of loyalty and fulfilling one's duty, even at great personal cost. By taking up Sasuke's sword and his promise, Boruto aligns himself with these ideals. His choice to protect Sarada is not only a fulfillment of his promise to Sasuke, but also a reflection of his maturation as a shinobi. In risking his life to save Sarada, Boruto carries forward Sasuke's legacy, blending the values of self-sacrifice, loyalty, and the will of fire. For specific examples of this, we have to look at a few stories that closely line up with Boruto's current situation and how it adds more layers to Boruto and Sarada's dynamic by extension. For this, we're going to use samurai stories as well as Japanese folklore, in particular from the Minamoto clan, since much of Boruto's character in part 1 and part 2 can be traced back to said clan. So Boruto protecting Sarada, it embodies key elements of samurai code: Bushido, loyalty, duty, self-sacrifice, and fulfillment of a master's wishes. By choosing Sarada over his sensei Konohamaru, Boruto reflects this very layered and complex set of conflict, as well as allegiances that are present in samurai folklore, with his potential romantic feelings adding a personal, emotional dimension to his choice. Bushido and the duty to a master's family is something that you have to accept when it comes to Boruto and Sarada. So in samurai culture, loyalty to one's master, it often extends to protecting their family, especially in their absence or in their death, which in the case of Boruto and Sasuke right now, that's more the former since Sasuke isn't dead. This principle, it mirrors Boruto's promise to Sasuke to protect Sarada. In wielding Sasuke's sword and guarding his daughter, Boruto honors both the physical and symbolic aspect of Sasuke's legacy, as well as his role in the whole samurai creed. The samurai story parallel, you can really just take this to the tale of the 47 Ronin. So that's one of the most famous samurai stories out there. It tells of a masterless samurai avenging their lord's unjustified death. After their lord was forced to commit suicide, the Ronin, they sacrificed everything to preserve his honor and protect his family name. While Boruto's mission is not about vengeance, let me make that clear, it's not about vengeance. Where this does parallel is the Ronin's unwavering loyalty to their master. It resonates very strongly with Boruto's determination to honor Sasuke's final wish, even at great personal risk. That's where the parallel is. However, the stronger one that you have to look at is the story with the Minamoto clan and Benkei. So the relationship between Yoshitsune, a legendary samurai, and his loyal retainer Benkei, it reflects these themes of protecting bonds forged in trust and duty. Yoshitsune's retainer, including Benkei, they risked everything for him and his family. Similarly, Boruto's loyalty to Sasuke, it extends naturally to Sarada, making her protection an unquestionable priority for him. Obviously, you have to look at the romantic undercurrent that is there. So Boruto's possible, which we're just gonna say possible, it's not confirmed right now. Boruto's possible romantic feelings for Sarada, it adds a depth to his decision to prioritize her over Konohamaru. While his immediate justification may stem from his promise to Sasuke, a potential romantic tension often amplifies a character's sense of duty in literature and storytelling. So with samurai romance, there is a parallel here. So that goes to the story of Princess Chujo. In this tale, a samurai dedicates his life to protecting a princess, driven by both his loyalty to his love and a burgeoning, unspoken love for her. His reflections, they reflect a blend of duty and personal affection. Similarly, Boruto might have deeper feelings for Sarada, realized or not, and that fuels his desire to protect her even against overwhelming odds against a bloodlusted opponent like Ryu. And it goes back to, just like with Princess Chujo, the whole duty of samurai being loyal to the family, and those types of relationships have a very complicated layer to them. So you also have to look at the whole conflict of priorities. So Boruto choosing Sarada over Konohamaru, it highlights the tension between personal bonds and broader obligations. It is a recurring theme in samurai stories. His feelings for Sarada, again, potential, they could subconsciously sway his decision, placing her safety above his sensei's safety, even if it means clashing with Kashin Koji's cold logic or risking the fate of the world. Ryu's bloodlust, it is a symbol of Boruto's struggle when you think about it. So Ryu represents an immediate personal threat to Sarada, while Matsuri's threat to Konohamaru represents a broader, love-laden strategic dilemma. Boruto's decision to face Ryu speaks to his emotional prioritization of Sarada's safety over calculated pragmatism. This also brings up samurai parallels in confronting overwhelming odds. In many samurai tales, a warrior faces insurmountable foes to protect his master's honor for their master's family. So for instance, you have Sanada Yukimura, a famous samurai general. He is celebrated for his stand at Osaka Castle, where he fought overwhelming odds to protect his lord's clan. Yukimura's story parallels Boruto's potential choice to face a powerful foe like Ryu and ultimately Jura, because it emphasizes courage that is born out of loyalty and love. Boruto's willingness to face Ryu and ultimately Jura if he comes to the battlefield like Koji's warning, it reflects the samurai's ideal of death before dishonor. For Boruto, dishonor would come not from fulfilling his role as a singularity as Koji's telling him, but more so from his failure to protect Sarada, because that is a promise he made beforehand to Sasuke's legacy, as well as his own promise to himself via his growing, potentially unrealized emotions. You also have to look at, again, the importance of Sasuke's sword being wielded and the symbolism in samurai weapons. I'm not going to go super in-depth on that because there's like a whole 18-minute video breaking down the samurai meaning behind Boruto having Sasuke's sword. Strongly recommend checking that out. However, a samurai sword is an extension of their soul. It's a representation of their ideals and their duty. By wielding Sasuke's sword, Boruto embodies Sasuke's will of fire and his duty as a village's shadow. Protecting Sarada, someone who wants to be Hokage, with that sword, it carries a profound symbolic weight. It aligns with Boruto as the archetype for a wandering samurai protecting his master's family. It is a symbolic parallel. So to take it even further, you have the sword of Kusunoki, which is a legendary samurai. He gave his sword to his son as a symbol of loyalty and duty before facing certain death in battle. Sasuke's sword similarly represents a passing of ideals to Boruto, who now bears the responsibility of upholding those ideals, particularly when it comes to protecting Sarada. Boruto, for all intents and purposes, he is a modern samurai. Boruto's decision to protect Sarada over assisting Konohamaru potentially captures the essence of Bushido, loyalty, courage, and self-sacrifice. His potential romantic feelings add another layer to a personal motivation that makes his choice much more emotionally resonant. By wielding Sasuke's sword and fulfilling his promise, Boruto bridges the gap between duty and emotion, embodying the samurai's ideal of protecting both master's legacy and those that they love. Boruto's actions align him with samurai legends as he chooses to not only face overwhelming odds, but also to honor the unspoken bonds that define him as a hero. This decision deepens his narrative, weaving a tale of love, duty, and emotional struggle between the battle of fate versus free will, which ironically is a battle that he has inside of him via Momoshiki, giving him the whole thing about fate, and Kashin Koji challenging the concept of free will by talking to him about all the possible futures because of 10 directions and telling Boruto, you gotta remain emotionally distant. In conclusion, I'll say this: Boruto's decision to prioritize his bonds over his own life and the larger mission creates a powerful narrative tension. His actions highlight his humanity, defying Kashin Koji's cold logic and Momoshiki's prophecy that's still in effect. In doing so, Boruto reaffirms a core theme of Naruto. Imagine that. Clip this part out for Boruto haters. The strength to defy fate and protect those that you love. At the same time, his choice reflects the ideals of samurai culture, as he carries Sasuke's will, someone who was ridden with strong samurai influences, to protect the future generation with unwavering resolve. This decision will likely deepen his relationship with Sarada and Sasuke, while intensifying the conflict between himself and Kashin Koji, ultimately shaping Boruto's path as a hero. Which, to greater understand how love fits into all of this, you really want to check out the Boruto chapter review, because the loss of humanity in Shinobi, the unresolved emotions of love, and the growing awakening of humanity in the awakened Shinju are all covered in the chapter review, so click here to watch that if you haven't already.